My wife said she was going on a date and laughed.
When my wife laughed and told me she was going on a date with her boss, I smiled like it was a joke. But something deep inside me tightened. A quiet instinct whispered that it wasn't funny at all. We'd been married long enough for me to know her tone, to hear when humor was masking something else. That night I barely slept. Her boss was the kind of man people admired, instantly successful, confident, the center of attention. I'd met him once, and the way he spoke to my wife lingered in my mind. I tried to dismiss it as insecurity, telling myself trust was everything in a marriage, but doubt settled in my chest like a stone. Over the next few days, everything felt suspicious. Late nights at work. Her phone always turned face down. Short answers when I asked about her day. I hated the man I was becoming, analyzing every detail, replaying every conversation. I needed proof, not because I wanted her to be guilty, but because not knowing was destroying me. One afternoon, I left work early and drove to her office, telling myself I was just surprising her for lunch. The receptionist smiled politely before telling me my wife had already left with her boss. That one sentence erased every excuse I'd made for her. I walked out of that building feeling like the ground had disappeared from under me. I wandered into a cafe and sat there for nearly an hour, imagining them together, laughing, sharing something that used to belong only to us. When her boss walked in alone, something inside me snapped. I confronted him, expecting guilt or panic. Instead, he was calm, almost amused, insisting it was all professional and that my jealousy was misplaced. His confidence felt like an insult. When I got home that night, I asked my wife about lunch. She lied without hesitation. That was the moment something inside me shattered. The argument that followed was explosive, filled with accusations, tears, and words we could never take back. She went to bed, leaving me alone with my anger. I did something I never thought I would do. I opened her laptop. At first, nothing. Then I found the photos, not explicit but intimate enough to hurt. Smiles that looked too familiar, moments that felt too personal. Finally, I saw it, an unfinished email draft that spoke of desire, secrecy, and the fear of being discovered. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and furious, but anger wasn't enough. I wanted them to feel what I was feeling. By morning, my heartbreak had hardened into determination. I contacted a lawyer and started divorce proceedings without telling her. Then I began gathering everything: messages, photos, timelines. I sent anonymous tips to her company's HR department and leaked information to industry contacts, framing their relationship as unethical. Each message I sent felt like I was reclaiming a piece of my pride. The fallout was immediate. Rumors spread like wildfire. Meetings were called, investigations began. My wife's calls went from confused to frantic. I ignored everyone. Her boss's wife even reached out to me after an anonymous message. We met, sharing what we knew, fueling each other's anger. Watching their lives unravel gave me a sense of control I hadn't felt in months. I thought I was winning. Then everything collapsed. Federal agents knocked on my door one evening. They weren't interested in an affair. The project my wife and her boss were working on was tied to national security. The information I had leaked carelessly, vengefully, had gone far beyond gossip. It had crossed into something dangerous. Sitting in that interrogation room, I finally understood the weight of my actions. What I thought was revenge had become something far worse. I cooperated fully, confessing everything. The investigation lasted months. I lost my job, my reputation, and every illusion I had about myself. My wife tried to reach me, not to argue, but to explain. There had never been an affair. The secrecy was about protecting the project, not betraying our marriage. But by then, it was too late. In the end, the authorities recovered the compromised information. My wife and her boss were cleared, but their careers were permanently damaged. I was not so lucky. Standing before the judge, I finally understood how easily suspicion can destroy love and how revenge never truly satisfies. As they led me away, I caught a glimpse of my wife. The anger was gone from her face. What remained was a sadness that hurt more than hatred ever could. Now, alone, I see the truth. I didn't lose my marriage because of betrayal. I lost it because I chose vengeance over communication and assumption over trust. I was the architect of my own downfall, and that is a lesson I will carry for the rest of my life.